think Laura wants to tell the chimney story.
I was thinking, would it have to put my computer on? Could I access a different page or something? Could that be helpful? Or shall we just...
I'm going to just look in the background while you tell the crow down chimney story.
Yes, absolutely. There's no story like my chimney story. I can show you the chimney if you like, guys. The week this whole thing started, I think it was it lockdown or just before lockdown? I'd been doing it a bit before anyway, so it's probably about the week of lockdown. I have a blocked, well, it's not a blocked up chimney from the top, obviously. There's a blocked up chimney from the bottom. And I've lived in this flat for 2 years in July. Never, ever has anything come down there before. I know, because when I looked in there was nothing bone-like in there. Anyway, I was, as everyone was, when this energy hit, being spun the hell out. I was being totally spun out. And I was doing my absolute best to stay calm and grounded. And I was doing really super well. And then one thing happened, two things happened, three things happened, and I just lost my grounding. I just spun off. And I was not myself. I couldn't get grounded. I couldn't get sorted. And it was this particular morning that I really was just like quite emotionally not great about it. And I was just sitting here, and then I heard, well, Cobweb, the cat, was sniffling around the chimney, and I was like, okay, I heard this, and there was a noise. So I just, I was hectically cleaving open the boarded bit to the chimney, and it wouldn't come open. And I was cleaving, and I thought, in the end, I literally just banged the board out, like literally. I thought, whatever's in there, we died of shock, because I was really, it's been about 15 minutes of me making a lot of noise, and I just went bang, 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 and got it, and opened it, thinking a little sparrow was now in a state of shock. And then I just looked into the chimney, and there was this crow just looking at me like, you're right. But like, not phased, just like, yeah, right. And flew, oh, I got my tea towel, my trusty tea towel, to pick up the whatever animal it was, and the crow flew past, brushed past my face, went straight round and out the door. And I was like, wow, you know when you've been Morrigan, basically. And then literally under a week later, this wasn't a gentle rapping at my chimney door. It went boom, boom, boom on the same bit of board. And I was like, I hadn't been freaking out that morning, but something had been going on in my head, and I can't remember what it was, but it was fitting. And I was like, oh my God, like, it must be a fox or a cat falling down that. So it was a gangster crow. Again, I was cleaving out the wood, and got it out. You're right. And I got my tea towel, flew past my head and out the door. But this time Cobweb went, I tried to catch it, but didn't. And it was just those twice in a week after almost 2 years of absolute nothing. And it was just like, this is just when this all set off, and my panic was strong because I live on my own, and the whole fear thing came in. And I just went, it's okay. Like, I thought fully, the crows are fine, by the way. They went, I think they're having a laugh. They're having a great time. And I thought to myself, they're either playing with me because I'm on lockdown, or they're saying shield up, woman. And I felt like the latter. Shield up, woman, and also it's we've got you, we're here. And I felt since then, every time I get into a freak out, which hasn't been as much actually, I've really got myself back on track. But every time it's been a bit wobbly, I just go, think of the boom, boom, boom. You're right. Yeah. And get back into a place of they got it, it's fine. And I felt since this whole pandemic thing, I don't know about you, Jerry, that the signs and the messages of nature have been literally boom, like so strong.
Mm-hmm. So good news. I think I've cracked it. I think we should be on the Story Eye page as well now. Fingers crossed. So technology. But I have to agree that, yeah, I've noticed there have been some really strong signs from the Morrigan recently. I got told I had to do a Morrigan protection cycle over on Patreon, and like we're basically shield walling across Patreon with each other to keep each other protected. But was it yesterday or the day before? And I was like in a negative thought cycle, and I was just about to go to bed, and there was this crow outside the window. Bah! Bah! I was like, what the? And I was like, and it was basically telling me off. It was like, no, don't do that. I was like, okay. Like hiding, like please don't like start rapping at the window, like there's someone rapping at the bedroom door, help. But I have noticed that the crows have been very active, they've been very loud, they've been much louder than I remember them being for a while, and it's difficult to know how much of it is them like loving that there are less humans around and they're like, yeah, like we're loving it, versus how much of it is the Morrigan making her presence known, because I definitely feel like she is making her presence known, her energy known. I can feel her now, which probably means that, yeah, when you suddenly get that warm feeling descending over your back, like someone like over your shoulders, like, yes.
Someone over your shoulder. What?
Literally, in Laura's case, yeah. So I will say, if at any point anyone would like to ask any questions, the floor is open to you guys, and I should be able to pick up comments and everything. So fingers crossed. Yeah. So what do you think is one of the best ways, or a really poignant way that has come through for you about Morriganic protection in the here and now and the difficult times for people?
Yeah. Well, it was even before this was happening here that I was doing meditations daily, not about the Morrigan, but as typical as she does. She was being the gate. I was going to my little place, my meditation, and every day I did this, and she was there with a team of women with the shields and the spear banging on the shields every day. And I was like, it felt like this energy of, this has always all happened, like it wasn't happening here when this was coming every day. And I quite liked it. And I bought myself a shield in February, quite a big shield. And then she obviously wants her crows on, ravens on that. But it was like every day there was a group of women in her, and they were banging. But it felt like that is the energy that she brings, not to start a fight, but to raise your energy. What I felt happened when this all hit was it was a big soul loss for people. The panic and the fear and the anxiety dislodged everybody, and you kind of give in a lot to the fear. You give in a lot to the mass energy and of course you do. Like, this has never happened in our lifetimes. We've never coped with anything like this. And it was it just threw everybody. So I felt that it was a collective soul loss for the first week or two, maybe still, but it kind of feels it's ebbing back. And what she does is she bangs the shield, she raises your energy in that way, not to start a fight, but it's like the banging of the shield, and the energy of this female power is to remind you of you, to bring you back here and to raise your energy. So I feel like she's got, like literally with the crows coming down the chimney, it was like, I'm here. And they're more real than anything. Like, the thing is with fear is you catch a virus once, you catch fear every 10 minutes. And that's the killer, I think, in a lot of ways. And of course, I'm not lessening anything that's going on. But for our mental health, the way the world, it was every 10 minutes you're kind of hit by something. And she was there going, I'm here. And that was more real than anything else that was going on around. So she brings this shield, she brings this return to earth, return to now, and raise your energy. And it's so clear and so strong that you can't not listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I had her coming through in terms of like poetic chat, like downloading, which is something that she does with me quite a lot, but it was very prophetic, and it was and it keeps being like, look out for my coming. Like, watch for my coming, watch for the crows, and then I get chills now. And it was all very much that. It's still that, to the point where she said that to me yesterday or the day before, that is, look for the crows and you will know that I'm coming. And they have been everywhere. They've been absolutely everywhere, as I've said. They've been following me around as well. So I've noticed that a little bit more, that they've been present in the air a little bit more than I'm used to, and I see a fair few of them anyway, but there's been that. And then the downloading of like channeling in meditation and things has been very it's been twofold, because one of it is this very like, I am coming, watch for me. And I was wondering whether or not she's so present because the old system is breaking down. And that's what she does. She breaks down the old systems that don't work, that are bad for the land, and replaces them. And we might have a queen technically, but it's not quite the same as kings of old, really. Kings and queens of old, at least I don't think it's quite the same. It's more figureheady. And I just wondered if she's very involved in the breaking down of what's happening, so that we will get a new system, and she's going to be like front and center of that. And then the other side of it has been like protect your own. Very much that.
Your energy as well, like your sovereignty, your energy. What are you letting in? If you're even slightly sensitive at the moment, it feels like waves of the collective as well as your own stuff. And it's protect your energy as well. Like don't be an open vessel all the time for this. So she's brought that protection and I kind of feel like this is what she's been waiting for. She's like, I feel like in a lot of ways it feels, because she feels so present. There's some, not in the personal way, not in the people that are suffering way, in a rebirth of the way things are way. I feel she's here for the people that are suffering as well in a different way. But for the energy of the system and the land, since I was thinking what's going to happen this time of year, because since about October, November last year, every reading I did, I was using the Druidcraft Tarot. Every reading I did, even if someone asking, you know, does Bob fancy me? Will I get a job in here? You know, even for those, for March, April, all we got, of course, Bob fancies everybody, you know, but all we got for March, April was the rebirth card. Every time it was, which in the Druidcraft, I've put it around here somewhere, but is it's Newgrange, and there's a young child coming out of the dark tunnel with trumpets playing and a hare running across. And I was like, wow, March, April's going to be massive. I wonder what's going to happen. I thought it might have been a bit more happy than this, but it is rebirth, and that's what she does. She guards the rebirth. So yeah.
I can see that completely. I'm surprised that no one got any questions yet for or I was surprised. I thought we were going to get more. And I agree, because like this, it definitely had this weird surge of energy thing that was happening. And her poetry that she downloads is one of the main ways she communicates with me when she wants to, like, when she wants to say something, as opposed to just like maybe giving a directive or a push in a certain direction or draw attention to something. Then I'll just hear something usually. But when it's downloading in poetry, it's like, pay attention and look for the meaning between the words and look for the words that I'm using. And it's very riddle-like in the way that she does. And that leading up to what was coming was very like, be prepared, be on your guard, be ready to protect, be ready to stand. And she definitely, Laura mentioned like the fear element, like she's definitely been very front and center with me for that. So she was pushing and pushing and pushing me to speak against certain things when it came to certain reactions to the coronavirus, because she was like, we need to talk about you know, the Morrigans, the way the Morrigan would deal with things, right? Which is she doesn't like fake positivity in that scenario, and I didn't like fake positivity in that scenario. And so it was very, how do we find a sort of warrior way through to encourage people, to bolster the ranks, to encourage people to you know, protect themselves, and but also know that their reactions are valid. And that she was very like channeling through for me, and it was very much that energy was around it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not saying with the fear not to have the feelings. It's like to let out all those emotions is so healthy, and of course it is. And the shock, the literal, like, there's a bit like grief and shock coming out of people, and it was like, I was thinking like, when was the last time I felt like this? It was like when you lose someone or when you lose a part of your life. It was the last time, this kind of helplessness, and that is so valid, and everything around that is valid. It just means if you're in quite a good place and you're skipping around, suddenly you check Facebook, you put news on, and you go into the spin, that is a different energy. So it's like the actual emotions building up and coming out, of course, like we've all done it and we will again, and that's absolutely fine. And just know she's there to support you through it, but she will call out the crap if you get lost in the spin of what's going on. So yeah.
Yeah, I was already in that energy as well, because I had lost 2 grandparents last year, towards the end of last year. And then I lost a relationship as well, which got messy. So I was already in those sort of death spirals of experiencing that anyway. So I feel like maybe I was like ahead of the curve just slightly for this grieving that was happening, because I was already there. So she was like, right, we'll tap that then, and we will use how you know that feels to relate to other people in what they're feeling about a situation which is not the same, but it has that undertone of the same energy. So yeah, that's often how it happens to me. I end up being like, oh, we're slightly ahead of the curve. Yay. How is everybody doing, by the way? How is everyone feeling about everything? How is everybody coping with everything? And do you have any questions? Hello, 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 hello. How is everybody doing? I'm going to see if the comments will bring up. We'll see. It's being really strange with technology today, guys. No. Out with the old, in with the new. Yeah, exactly. Out with the old, in with the new. Exactly. So what have you found difficult coping with this situation then, Laura?
So what have I found? I mean, and it's weird because you kind of think logically, oh, I'm self-employed, obviously that's a thing in itself, but I work at home, I'm alone a lot of the time, and it's good I'm just such good company, really, to be fair. That's cool. But and I like being on my own, it's great, but it's the force, it's when it feels like the walls are closing in, it's the trapped. And I'm also a total social bunny, and I like my alone time, and I like my hugs and social time. And actually I felt so much, it's just the thought you cannot see your friends, you cannot give them a hug, you cannot, it's not even the cancelled event, which is awfully annoying, of course. I get things, I don't mind doing things for people's health, like that's absolutely fine. So cancelling events, that's annoying, but I totally get it, it's all fine. But I think it's the not knowing how long something's going to last, and you start looking down a tunnel and going, is this going to be it for how long? But if you take it, what I've worked out, just take each day at a time and find it. And this is what very Morrigan and very Faye as well have been talking a lot through this time, is that if you take each day at a time and you find there is so much beauty in everything. I'm finding so much beauty in everything. And like nature obviously is super happy. Like nature is blooming. The fae and the animals are just speaking. They're just so happy. And I love looking up at the sky and not seeing chemtrails, but seeing buzzards and just all you can see. So there's a good, obviously, I'm not saying any of this is good for certain reasons, but I'm just saying nature is super happy and the cats are super happy. The cats are like, finally, you've listened to our wise words. You're staying at home all the time. Well done. So they're living their best life. So it's just finding the beauty. That's how I've been. I get into tunnel vision thinking sometimes. I think there's problems either way, isn't it? If you're stuck with someone all the time, that's panicky as well. Sometimes, I think having the support there is something I'm missing. But if you're stuck with someone, that could be annoying, and put pressure on that relationship. But being alone has its other issues. So I think it's that. But honestly, I felt so much support and I felt so much beauty everywhere. So I'm just taking each day. That's all you can do, and I think that's what the Morrigan and the deities and the fairies are like. Just be here, be present, be here now. Astrologically, what's going on hasn't happened for over almost 4,000 years. We are at this amazing, crazy time. Be in it, be present. And I think when we're so busy, we're not present. I'm always planning the next thing. What's my next? What this? And it's being brought back to here, and it's very empowering. But yeah, I'm not fluffing over it. It has been quite terrifying. But it's also keeping something in your mind that keeps you going, I guess, as well.
Yeah, it's definitely felt like almost a very Morriganic soul retrieval time for me. Because it's been like soul retrieval, but it's not been like fun and light and easy and woo. It's definitely been all these things you haven't dealt with yet, and how you haven't listened to your own soul properly in a really long time. Guess what? And I came to realize that this for me was very much a moment of taking the time to actually listen to what my own soul was saying, to the point where I've gone from I've had major hermit moments throughout this this pandemic. I'm quite an indoor person, and I also work for myself, so levels of, like, as soon as I found out I could use a post office, I was okay, because up until that point I was like terrified. And so that level of it is like, okay, we'll just keep going, keep supporting people, we'll keep doing what we do, and I'm okay from that perspective, because I don't know about you, I assume you feel the same way, but what we do is not just what we do. It's not just a job to us, it's like a part of who we are.
Totally.
It's how we create, it's how we speak, it's how we feel, it's how we share our soul with the world, basically. So that side of things is okay for me, because at the minute, at least, I can still more or less do what I was doing before, with obviously making, you know, precautions, only going to the post office once a week instead of every so many days, only sending things tracked instead of tracked and signed for, so they can be tracked, you can see where they are, but there's no
stress around the signing.
And I clean everything down with a really high level, like 80% alcohol, so all the bottles and stuff have been like disinfected. But for me, the other side of that has been, because I said I've lost people recently, like very recently. I lost grandparents, I lost a relationship, all that is this whole lot of nastiness around it. And the Morrigan was like, you're gonna have to start listening to yourself, because your tendency to try and serve and help and sort and fix everything, and like taking on way too much, has basically made you sick. And you nearly died, and like, that's enough now. So we're going to take this big cosmic moment where you can't escape, because, you know, earth sign, I'm like, I don't want to do, I don't want to do it. And it's like, well, the whole world's in closed down mode, guess what? Hey, didn't see that coming, but all right. So for me, it's definitely been that. It's definitely been listen to yourself, listen to your soul. What is it that's actually you? So that kind of sovereignty vibe, in a very strange way, it's this weirdest way of ever experiencing sovereignty that I've ever had.
Absolutely, yeah, it's been totally the same here as well. And what bits you, and also the self-destructive voices that come up, and they're heard very loudly at the moment, because you can't go, oh, I'm just going to go and do this instead, or go there, do that, and just being stuck without thinking of this self-destructive. And it's just like, but then you can point out, whoa there. You can just go, this, okay, I'm listening, what are you, where, oh my god, you've been there all this time, slowly eating away at me, and I was too busy I did notice, but I got away with it. And you go, oh my god, you've been eating away at me, telling me these things and undermining me for how long? And I had a bit of a crisis moment of, I think it's by the second boom 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 time, that might be what came down, because I had this going, oh my god, like being almost crushed by that voice, and then went, whoa, this is child wound, this is young pain, this is something that stayed with me, and it's been on the back seat, driving away, thinking it was helping, I'm sure, and it's been amazing to go, I can recognize you, and hopefully now I can stop you before you come in. And I think usually with this quiet, it gives you that soul time, as you say, to see what's yours, what's healthy, what's going on in there. And if we're in this rebirth and purification time, we haven't got time to be in that repetitive pattern of wounding and going over down the same road. It's just, there's no time for it. We've got things to do and the stars to shine, and not, and the pain we have to feel is the stuff we need to feel, not the stuff that we're doing to ourselves.
I noticed that I noticed there's a massive undercurrent of anger in the spiritual ecosystem, and I was definitely picking up on other people's anger and stress a lot. So I was going through periods of releasing that in my hermit time, of making sure it wasn't mine, and then kind of unpicking the anger. That's been a major thing with it for me in this energy with Morrigan. And it's kind of like, which anger is yours and which is not, and what is the anger really, and is it really anger, or is it you've been hurt somewhere? Is it shadow masquerading as anger because it's unresolved, it's not being dealt with? And so there's definitely been like this interesting parallel with it, because some of the anger is needed. So some of the anger is that righteous fury, that call to battle, that standing by people, being angry for people, you know, like being angry at the medical situation, for example, and the people who've been let down by that, and people who've died because of the absolute mess of a healthcare system. And the UK is bad enough, and America's even worse. So that anger has a place, that has a purpose, that has like a rallying call. But then where is the anger taking away from who you are? Where is it kind of cutting you off in a way which is not productive, not healthy, not doing anything? So that's the bad energy you've been wondering about. Is that anger, Danielle? Is that energy you've been feeling? And Sarah said there was a massive crow on her garage roof.
Wow.
So they're everywhere. I'll just give her a minute. I also noticed, I don't know if you've had this, is I'm going to be making a video soon about this, and it's about silence. Mm-hmm. Because the Morrigan has this really interesting relationship with silence for me, silent watcher. Mm-hmm. And so there's definitely like a time for silence and then a time for not silence. And the way she put it to me was, when are you choosing to be silent versus when are you having your voice cord slit?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, Yeah, so Danielle's been feeling tons of emotion. I'll hand that over to Laura and say, how have you been feeling all those energies, and how have you been dealing with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was definitely the first couple of weeks, particularly, where I just lost my footing, and all the emotions kept like coming in. So I think accept it for a bit as well. I think the fighting it wears you out as well. So trying to fight, so I was thinking, I should be getting on, I should be doing, I should be getting on with work. And, you know, everyone was putting stuff on, you know, very proactive stuff, weren't they, on the internet, which is brilliant. But it was also like, I should be doing this, but I just wanted to sleep because I couldn't cope with the amount of emotions that were going on. So first of all, accept that you need to sleep, you need to rest, you need to give yourself time and nurture yourself. Give yourself that time to feel what you feel, and then bring in small routines every day that are going to nurture you and nurture. Just a routine is good. So like a morning meditation, a morning walk, if you can go out, something that's going to make, and then listen to what nature is saying to you. Listen to what's going on. There's new energies around, like there's different energies around, so listen to what the messages are. There is a lot of reassurance from nature and from your guides. Ask for those signs, because a lot of reassurance is coming. Not that it's all going to be all right, but that you are there's something here for you, you know. So first of all, feel all the feels. Don't hold it back. Don't pretend or try. But then start to put in some implemented daily things at the beginning, the middle, and the end. So you've got something to hold together at each point that are going to support you. And reach out. And don't put too much pressure on yourself. And Joey's vanished completely. She's like totally, hey! I was like,
sorry, Daisy just started making really loud squeaks. I was just going to check that she's okay.
It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, that's what I would say. And find your routine, but not in a way of forcing it, but find some small things that are going to keep you here. But what I'd also say is every morning, without fail, psychic protect in some way. Do something which connects you to the land, to where you are, or to your center, to your cord, and then protect. Because what's really, I think, important at this time is that, as Jerry was saying, you know what energy is yours, that if it's your feelings, that's great. If you're taking on, oh, Daisy's so cute. If you're taking on everyone's emotions, you're not going to be able to get up in the morning. So make sure every morning you do something, and evening as well, that's going to reaffirm your boundaries, reaffirm your sacred space for yourself. And it is so healing and so powerful, because you're then you, without suddenly the whole world throwing their stuff at you. So I hope that is something to take and think about. And there was Daisy, and she's the most beautiful cat apart from Star, who are obviously,
they're beautiful, all of them, aren't they? She was just making her panic squeak, so I had to go check she'd not like got herself stuck or something. But she seems okay. You seem all right, don't you? Is it just that time of night? So I agree with I come at the routine from a place of nourishment, because one of the things that was bugging me, and I made a whole course about it because it was bugging me so much, was this idea of, oh well, just make out that it's normal, like make out that that working from home is just normal and blah. And I was like, it's fine to honor the fact that this is not normal and none of us know what we're doing. The fact that it's chaotic, it's unfamiliar, it's frightening, is something that we can honor, and that was way more Morriganic to me anyway. It's like, just speak the truth of a situation, honor it for what it is, and sort of pass through it, basically. But I had noticed there's also this vibe of, oh well, I don't get dressed and I'm in my pajamas and etc. Oh, I like that, Emily. Emily said, if you wear a mask outside, you can add protective sigils for the inside to add another layer of protection. I really like that, Emily. That's a really good idea.
Perfect.
Yeah. They don't get dressed. This is something that goes around. And I was like, you should really try and fight against, if one thing you should fight against is not getting showered, not getting dressed, because I don't know about you, but if I don't get showered and dressed, I feel awful. And that just adds to everything, and how stressed we are. So I would highly recommend, no matter what, getting washed and dressed. And I will quite often put makeup on, even if I'm not going to record, even if it's just for me. And there's something really empowering in putting you're basically battle paint, your war paint on just for you. And there's something really freeing in that. Whereas it's one of those lessons of this sort of thing is when it's not for someone else, when it's just for you, why is that less valid?
Absolutely. And I put my jewelry on, and when I've got my certain pieces of jewelry, there's something I say when I put each one on about why I wear it. So it doesn't have to be anybody else. So it's affirmations of this, and then you're like, yeah, we're here. So it's a small little rituals, isn't it? They're just for you, bringing you back. As I was saying, it felt like a bit of a soul loss, and I felt that we should go, come on, let's bring it back, let's come back here. And denying that it's making out it's normal, denying the crazy ain't gonna help. Watching nude 24 hours a day ain't gonna help. But being awake, being aware, but actually but being you, calling you back, because there's no more time to be more in your power and alive than now. I think I get the feeling that this is something, this time, not just now, but this times, of what probably a lot of us have been maybe training, doing all these courses for all these years.
It definitely feels like, I can't remember who said it, but somebody had said that it feels like this is a time that the women will step forward in the world. And earlier today there was a post about how many of the world leaders are actually female right now, which is quite a lot of them. Not here, obviously, and not America, but other places in the world there's quite a few. And that kind of returning to the songs of the mothers was actually the energy that was desperately needed in the world. And we're actually kind of in that energy, maybe not by choice, but that's kind of where we are, because what a lot of people are doing is telling stories, or listening to stories, or watching stories, or doing crafts and art and projects and doing things with their hands and learning to cook again. So there's something very like hearthy and earth mothery. So it's like we're reflecting what's happening to the earth right now. She's healing, she's getting back to a simpler, less polluted, less toxic version of her song. And then at the same time, that's what a lot of us are doing. I mean, regardless of gender or anything like that, I'm just using broad terms. And obviously, it's not that you can't do these things as a guy, or that fathers don't do this thing. It's just that general, very ancient way of gathering women around Daisy too, around the fire. Sorry, I just got like me, and no one can see because I've got the green screen on. So I just suddenly got Daisy in my back, like, oh.
Never say sorry for Daisy.
Never. You're a queen, aren't you? So That's been really interesting, is that energy as well. And I agree with what Laura said about rest. I've been saying that to so many people, like, if your body says stop, then stop.
Yeah.
I've been saying that to myself too, because it's super easy for me to be like, no, we're doing it, we're going on, carry on, woo, 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 do the things, all the things, all the things, all the things, crash, collapse, not good. So if my body's been like, we need to stop now, then I've just been honoring that on the spot, like, no matter, well, I mean, not if I'm in the middle of something with someone else, obviously, but after that. But generally speaking, if it's just me, I'm like, right, we've got to stop.
If you fall asleep in the middle of this conversation, I won't be affected.
just disappear, just slowly disappear off into the background and don't come back. Laura's got this, it's fine.
I haven't got the controls, I just keep talking to the batteries.
Until time's out or something.
Oh, and I think as well, I was with this whole thing that I don't know, for a lot of people that who are teachers or run courses or who do this as a living, how many times do we do lots of stuff for ourselves? Do we remember to bring back in our own spiritual path? Because it becomes the work a lot of the time. And even though we do bits, it often the work takes over, and you do the ritual as part of the course, or you do the meditation because someone else doing meditation. And now it's more than ever like that back to the strength is by doing the work for yourself. Like this is time to remember that, wow, you're so strong when you do that work. And that's for me anyway. I realized that I was doing all these things, of course, but as part of teaching, as part of this, as part of running around busy. And now it's like, boom, do it for yourself. I'm like, oh yeah.
It's been a really interesting affirmation of self in that way, and in another way for me. So right before all this happened, I was having a lot of self-doubt, and I was struggling with an energy that got brought into my space, not by me, which is where somebody was like, oh, well, you're not as good as this person or this person. And they brought this energy into my space right after everything had happened that I'd been through, and so I was vulnerable to it, and I just was struggling to like really get that out of my head space, my energy space. I was struggling with it really badly, and clearly Morrigan was like, And so recently, when I won't tell the details of her consultation or anything, but I had a consult with a lady, and I was just doing my thing, and then mid consult there's like download channeling, oh god, what's happening? Like it went full priestess mode all of a sudden, from discussing energies and ideas and pulling cards and talk, and suddenly it was just download, and it was just something else entirely. And I was like, okay, we're gonna have to just go with this, and everything slotted into place for her, everything was slotting into place for me, everything was deep and profound and more, it felt more real to me than anything I've channeled for someone else ever, maybe, because it just was like touching live wire spirituality. And I think when we get into work mode, sometimes we move away from that a little bit. We get not into the habits so much, but we get into the flow of how we're used to teaching, or this is how this is, and you're not really like wide open to these crazy experiences of spirituality. And they're the moments that really change things for us, I think.
Absolutely. I think nothing is comfortable when it's change. We're humans. We don't like change. We know we should be doing things differently. For probably 10, 15, 20 years, it's taken a very long time to do it differently. And then suddenly we have to do it differently. And no one likes it. But actually, like things that you see, that you can see the Himalayas from Tibet for the first time in God knows how long, and all that nature's going, it changes. And in what I realize as well, we all say things like, we need to save the planet, we need to do this. Mother Nature doesn't need us. She's showing us you can get rid of it. It's like the warning call, guys. Like next time she'll get rid of a lot of us. If maybe, I don't know, but it just feels like it's a bit of a I'm giving you the message here. This is your last warning. Mother Nature doesn't need us, and she's showing us, don't need you. Like go, start behaving. Go back to your room. Don't move. Think about what you've done. Basically, is what it is at the moment.
Yeah, I was thinking about this in terms of like more organic practice, sovereignty and land earlier, and I was thinking it's actually really sad in some ways, just how disconnected we are from what it actually means to be a guardian of the earth. Because even when we're trying our best in modern times, it feels like it's not it's not where it needs to be in order of like really protecting the earth. And this basically like enforced time of don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah, literally.
Pretty much. Daisy is like being a pain on purpose. Don't scratch the carpet. It's the only thing you're not allowed to do. Cats. Yeah, but so I was thinking about it. It's like what she probably needs is a bit more of what we're doing right now, which is like a bit, you know, time out in the world, where the world is like, okay, this day and this day is a time out day. Yeah. And you know, less pollution, less cars, less busyness, less people, less everything for a couple of days a week. And that would probably make way more difference,
wouldn't it,
than the always on world that we have. And
absolutely.
It was just a really weird thought that I was having about how we get these ideas of we're helping and healing the earth, but is it helping and healing the earth really?
Yeah, is it, are we still, I mean, are we still doing it in a convenient way for us? Yeah, I think that this has made it very inconvenient. It's actually made a difference. I think that whole thing with people changing, it's like we take so long to change, we don't like it, but when it happens we all freak out like we have done. It's not just, obviously it's not just change, it's a lot of other things as well, but it's even the lockdown thing. A lot of people are rebelling against the lockdown, and I get it, but still, no, don't be an idiot. No one knows really what's going on, so just basically don't be an idiot, really. You know, it's then just to think I could really help by just not being an idiot right now. Good, great, do that. But I feel like no one wants to inconvenience themselves, me included. Like, I'm not saying this from a high point of, there's things I could have done before, and now I'm doing them. I'm actually like, oh, this is actually really nice doing this. It's a bit helping the planet and not consuming so much. But it takes a shock, it takes a change for us all to make that inconvenient reality, really.
Has anybody got any questions, by the way? You're welcome to ask questions. People are being very quiet. Either that or Facebook isn't working. Everyone's like, no, we shall just listen quietly.
What? Quiet?
But this doesn't usually happen. Where is everybody? Oh, no, apparently someone started a watch party. No, that didn't interfere with us, lovely, don't worry. I don't know what's going on with the whole of technology right now anyway. Like,
we have no idea. We just talk and hope for the best.
Like recycling bottles, bring them for a bit of coin. You can do that right now, so you can't do that right now, so we're tossing them again. Not best thing for the planet though. I mean, okay, I mean, where we are, there's people come and pick up all the recycling, and they're still doing that, so that's not a change here. Is that in America? Emily said she's been really impressed with the leader of New Zealand. She's a badass.
Good.
Yeah. Everybody's just taking everything in, apparently. We're just, you know.
You can ask. Great. Well, the things I've been saying for ages is we've got the white spring and the red spring here, and I hate tap water. I bloody hate tap water. I really don't like it. And so I keep going. What I'll do is I've got these massive bottles of, 5-litre bottles of water. I'll fill them up with the white spring and the red spring. I'll drink that. Have I been doing it? No. Have I been doing it? Yes. It's like, why? It would have taken you 20 minutes. But I was like, oh, I'm going to get another big bottle. Oh, it's just silly little things, but just that kind of. So what I've been doing is I've been taking the big bottles to the white spring and singing to the well, making it a beautiful ritual. Like, this is so lovely, and it's blessing the water you're drinking. But before, oh yeah, I'm too busy right now. Like, really? Who's too busy for this? It's just crazy. I'm as bad as everybody else for making excuses. But they've all been taken away from us, haven't they? The excuses, which is pretty good. And I've also noticed, who's there for you as well. People I haven't spoken to for ages checking in on you. It's and people really daily making sure you're okay, or weekly or whatever, and just having the time for each other. And I've meant to have time for these people for ages, but you just don't. And it's just so lovely to go, oh, my friend, or I'll just talk to her child and help with her English. I could have done that every week, but I didn't. And it's just bringing you back to, I don't think busyness makes people very nice. Like, you can be a really good person. I think I'm an okay person. I try my best, but it doesn't make you, whatever, that nice when we're busy, because it takes away the edge of kindness. And I felt like actually with the more space to breathe, it's brought more kindness and genuine compassion and time for each other out. Like you were saying, the mother and the goddess and the storytelling, it's that kind of vibe, isn't it?
It's definitely brought into, for me, an energy of who do you want around you? Who do you really want around you? And then make the effort for it, because like there are people that I treasure and then I don't get to speak to them that often, like you said. And it's just literally schedule. Maybe they're in America. That's the case with Molly. Molly's in America. And, you know, we all get busy with work. And it's just how it is. And I'm a Virgo, so I can find work. I can make work, even when I have enough to do anyway.
Always work.
But I thrive in it. I love it. I live in it. So it's not work to me. It's
that's where the boundary flip, isn't it? Because you love it. And so I'm there at 1 a.m, and like, oh yeah. So
it's 3 p.m, and I haven't spoken to anyone yet. Oops, yeah. But yeah, I've been kind of making sure to check in with people, because I also get the vibe of sometimes, like, you get someone popping up in your head and you're thinking, oh, they might not be doing too well right now because of everything that's going on. And that's been very much the case. Like, my intuition has been pretty much spot on in that circumstance. It's like, hi, how are you doing? Like, pop up and somebody's like, hi, in somebody's DMs. Hello.
Hiya.
So that's been really nice in a lot of ways. It's brought up, again, it brings up shadows of things and things around that, because it definitely makes you look at places where it's like, is this worth it? With sometimes, because you, like, have you been pouring a load of water into places that is not nourishing for yourself? And that's true sometimes with people, especially when people's temperaments are very frayed right now, very stressed right now, very worried right now, and even just sometimes a difference in opinion on how to handle these situations has been a thing for me. I've noticed, like, if somebody is handling something in a way that is so drastically different to how I feel is the best way to handle it, I've kind of been distancing myself, like, not like, you know, you're wrong, I hate you, but like distancing, because that's like, it's getting on, it's fraying an already frayed nerve. So it's kind of like, okay, I need to just step away and just keep doing what I'm doing. So that's been a thing I've noticed. And it's kind of honoring yourself in a way.
More clear as well, can't you? You can sense them more clearly because you have more sensitivity, because you're not seeing people all the time or having that constant interaction. Your boundaries become like tangible. And I think, and it's interesting, you're like, whoa, wow, okay. I mean, I think for a lot of people who are empaths or spiritual, and everyone I do readings for a lot of the time is boundaries. We don't do them very well. We're not, it's been coming up so much recently, or the last few months in readings, and now it's like I can see them, I can feel them, and then you think, okay, well, what choices are going to make in the future so these are honoured? Like, you know, it's just going to be interesting moving forward, because I don't know if you guys are seeing it too, but I sense more what's okay and what's not, even in small ways, or how you, like you said, how much energy you give to this. You think, I've done that. So it's a great time to reflect and maybe make some decisions for yourself in the future about how you're going to interact and what you're going to give away and what you're going to keep.
Yeah, and how much you value things and how valued you feel by people is definitely a through line of all of this situation too. And I'm a big believer in making effort with people, although, you know, sometimes I do hermit off and then have to remind myself that you're doing that thing again. Go speak to someone. But that's definitely been a part of it's a very self-love based thing in a very Morriganic way of what is it that you actually need, like in relationships with people of all kinds, not just romantic ones, but like with people in general. Like, who do you want in your shield wall?
Yes, basically.
And I felt so protective of my patrons. It wasn't even funny. I felt also like with the Morrigan was like, just like, protect these people. And I was like, everybody in. We'll create a Discord. I don't know how to do it. We'll figure it out. And I was like, me and technology, as we have seen, not very compatible. But I was like, we'll figure it out. Everyone in. I'm gonna keep you all safe. And I felt like Mama Crow, like, come on, everyone in the nest, we're gonna be fine. Like, you can say whatever you want here. It's a safe space. I'll watch it, I'll guard it, I'll make sure.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's needed.
Yeah. And I've heard so many stories from people too. Obviously I'm not going to share any personal stories, details or anything, but a lot of people have been like coming to me with their difficult stories, and I'm like, this is more organic.
Yeah.
Honoring the difficulty, honoring the pain of situations, and there's been this weird push-pull thing, because before this really hit, there was this kind of like backlash against people sharing their difficult stories that I'd noticed, and people like, you're venerating pain. And I'm like, I could do a video and pretend I'm venerating pain, like, or something, you know, like I get into that mindset. I'm like, right, how can we fuck with this then? But then this has kind of reset that, and it's almost brought back a major empathy in that. We are all, it's that feeling though, isn't it, like we're all in this together. And it's when these great big moments of like change or panic and fear happen, mostly the human race does band together in a way which is awe-inspiring. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I feel that, and I feel my heart goes yes, you know, to that. And I know we all get scared. I know that people, and the thing is, as you say, like everything people are doing, it's quite, not that I ever do anything dickish ever, but everything people are doing is dickish, it's because they're afraid. And if we can come back to that reset, I mean, not everyone, people are just being stupid and being mean, but whatever, as a whole, when people are acting in either any way right now, it's because it's fear. So it's not to let that trigger go to you, because just accept the compassion that you don't have to get involved in it, but you can step back and let it go, because it's like they're afraid and they don't know where they are, and that's why they're doing it. And I think if we can, but you're so right, I feel that the most, I kept getting this every time I'm out in nature, is that people connect, and they can connect back to their hearts. We feel, because that is the power center, really. We're so here all the time, do what you do, but if we can feel and connect, it's what the human race are absolutely amazing at when we can. The energy, and I know I sound like a proper hippie, but fuck it. You know, the energy from the heart and connecting with each other, we can sense it at the moment. The love and compassion out there for people is just epic, and that's what makes the difference. It really does. So yeah, I think people can rise in such a beautiful way at this time. It doesn't matter if you have a dickish day, no worries, it's absolutely fine. You'll come back, tune back into your heart in that vulnerable strength, and like have the shield ball, but be you. And it's just beautiful and powerful. That's the most important thing. It creates change. I can see that in the land, and with how people are with each other. They give the shine by just caring. You can't go and hug them, which is upsetting for me. But you can feel that way of connecting people. Yeah.
So we're on about an hour, guys. So if you've got any questions for me or Laura in the topic at all, now's your chance. Because we were a bit late in starting, so I'm going to give you an extra 5 minutes to ask questions if anyone wants to ask any questions, and then I'm going to go see if what's going on with Facebook. I did get it to share over there, but why it was saying we didn't have permissions is the strangest thing ever.
I don't know.
That's very weird. It might just be because they're doing weird changes to Facebook again. Sometimes that's the thing.
Yeah. True.
Emily says, not sure if it's just me, but have you guys felt this spring season being less rebirth and more the underworld death type of energy, very much the seed deep within the earth?
For humanity, yes. For nature, no. For humanity, yes. For nature, oh my gosh, it's rebirth. It's just life. And then you can heal us by going, I know everyone can go out and be safe at the moment and whatever, but if you even you plant pot or something, nature is birthing like there's no tomorrow. It's beautiful. But humanity wise, I thought 2019 was a death. I didn't understand why. I thought last year there was no energy. I was just near. And I didn't know why. I thought maybe it's because end of a cycle. Like this year I've got to make changes. But it wasn't about me. It wasn't about me. What? It was global. Now you can look back and go, oh, of course, everything wound down. I didn't understand it. So yeah, I feel very alive in the energy, but it isn't a time to be out of the tunnel yet. We're not into that. I'm just visualizing that Druidcraft card again. We're not maybe at the point where the child is coming out into the new dawn, but I think there's hints of it. So you're probably right that a lot of us are in the earth, but I don't know. I think humanity might be going through that as a conscious group thing, but I think the earth is definitely in a place of rebirth.
Yeah, the place where I'm at energetically with the human race, at least, because Laura's spot on, my outside in nature has no worries with this. Like, we were driving to the post office today, which is today was the day I elected to go to the post office, and I was just looking at all the blossoms on the trees, and the magnolia tree was going like nuts with its flowers already, and it was so warm out there today. It was incredibly and nature is having a giggle at our expense right now, because it's like, oh, look at all this beautiful weather that you wouldn't normally get in April. Look how warm it is. I feel like she's laughing at us. But in terms of energies of me personally, and where I feel for humanity and things, and where I've been taking with the Morrigan, is very cave-like.
Yeah.
Very, very cave energies, and it feels like that in some ways, because obviously we're all literally feeling like in caves, right, in houses, but like that's the modern cave, right? So human beings used to dwell in caves, and now we've created slightly posher caves that we all live in, and so we all technically are all caved in, all entombed, all feeling very stifled with movement, and sometimes that can lead to feeling like there's not a lot of fresh air because we're inside all the time, and there's a lot of traffic inside depending on how many people we live with and things like that. So I can totally see you feeling that kind of death energy with it, but there's definitely been a go inside in so many ways, because you've literally been told on a world scale go inside, but there's also been like a spiritual thing, which is like go inside, which is that shadow work that we were talking about earlier and things like that. So it's been very internal, this going into spring.
Yeah, and it's just like you don't get your validation from outside at the moment, like as in from other people or status, or not that do anything. It's very much like you've got to go inside to find your, not your worth, I don't mean that, but to find your spark, really. It won't come from other people, and that's amazing to do. It's terrifying at first, like, where's he gone, but it's like, it's a nurturing, that's what it's about, nurturing and realigning and finding that spark. But yeah, it's a funny one, because it's a time of year when it is rebirth everywhere. And as the nature reserve, I was out running earlier this morning, and there's like birds everywhere, massive birds everywhere. It was just, I was like, and I feel that makes me happy, because it feels like, okay, we're staying inside, we're doing the inner work, but we're giving all this life a chance to be just beautiful. So it's a funny, I don't know what the word is, juxtaposition, that we're in this cave and yet there's so much life. It's a funny vibe. If it's happened in winter, it'd probably be more depressing in a way, I think. Yeah. But it would have been more you would have felt more part of the flow. We'd have gone inside anyway. But this is just a real sense of, to come alive this year, you have to go in. There's no skipping a phase. You've got to go in. It's really interesting.
It's interesting as well, because I think the way that a lot of us kind of engage with the spring energy is to actually be more like physically active, right? So we're used to being out in the garden a little bit more when the spring comes. We're used to going out and walking and seeing our friends, and it depends how pagan you want to get, like dancing around the maypole, very active, very flowy, and it's like that kind of energy, which is very like spinny and upbeat and energy that goes up here. And instead of that, we're all like, it's like so it feels like we're being asked to kind of appreciate spring without like putting our stamp on what spring means to us as human beings. It's like, you can observe this year. Like, that's it. You're not participating. No joyous springing about for you. Just the bunnies.
Yeah, just the bunnies. Yeah, no, totally. It is. It's okay, because it feels like, you know, you're not only doing it to help other humans, which you hope you are, like each other, to kind of help the situation, but also nature's just like, cheers, mate. You're right.
But it's healing. It is healing though, because it's healing the earth, and though we may not feel it, it is healing us too, as people, as humanity. Literally in terms of, you know, healing from a virus, but also healing how we connect to one another. Yeah, how we talk to each other.
I know. Beautiful.
Because there is, of course, the ugly sides, like there always is, but I've actually found this time, like, there's a lot of discussion around don't be an asshole. Like it's like people are very, very confronted with like the racism and stuff, and they're like, yeah, no, just stop it. Like there's been a much more like less excusing of things, and that's nice, like people standing up for each other a little bit more. I've noticed that as definitely a thing that I've noticed as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Any more questions, guys? We've got time for one, maybe two more, and then I'll let Laura get on with her day. Evening, really.
It's okay. It's lovely speaking to everybody, or you and everyone else that wants to speak.
So if we haven't covered anything, we obviously haven't covered basic things about Morganic protection, but you can call on the Morrigan at any time. If she, well, she might not show up, but you can try. If she's already spoken with you, then she will come at times of great stress. And if not, there are many goddesses who will, of course. It's been lovely having you guys here. Thank you so much. So no one's got any other questions for us then? Everyone's like, no, we're just listening. We just want to see you. It's fine.
That's all right. That's fine. Trying to think of anything else not said, really.
I don't think so. I think the energy of Morrigan is very much as, I've got her in my head, as it has always been.
Yep. Amplified.
The amplified, yeah. It's very much a time of, treat people with kindness, but don't take any shit. That's how it feels.
Yeah. No need for the shit. Well, that sounds a weird thing to say, obviously. With no toilet paper, no need for the shit.
We're done with that. We're over that as a human race. We don't want to do that anymore. Yeah, we're out of toilet paper. We're all done. Everyone thinks we've covered everything. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming live with me.
Yes.
Despite technology doing its best to be a pain. I hope everybody got to see this. Regardless of where you got to see it, I will pop this up on YouTube after the fact. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you got to this point, you can't ask questions, sorry. But I hope you enjoyed it anyway. So for me, I'll see you next time, and thank you to Miss Laura Daligan for coming and chatting with me.
Thank you so much.
And I'll make sure I pop everybody's links down there on YouTube, so you can find Laura, all the links down below. Go check out her art. You're still producing your drums and everything at this time, yeah?
Yes. I ain't stopping. No.
Yeah. And Laura does readings, and she's awesome at that as well. So anything we can do to support small businesses through this time, to make sure small businesses are still here on the other side of it, is well worth doing, guys. So thank you for your support. Thank you for being here and having a chat with us. Many blessings, guys.
Bye.